Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US stocks for the 29th of May. Today we're going to look at three stocks for Friday, and that's Atlassian, General Electric and Nikkei. So starting with the Nikkei here. Last time we spoke, we were in this little area through here and we're expecting it to move higher. So it's moved up to trading level 1, which is 100. And there's a couple of things that we need to kind of figure out with this stock here, and one of them is this particular move through here. This is the low here. This one's above the low, but this one here appears to be in 3 waves, and this move here appears to be in 5 waves. So I need to sort of give that some more consideration. And the other thing that I need to give consideration, we knew that this was a corrective move here in line with the other general market in, the S&P and so on. And this particular move up through here, I can count it in 2 ways. I can count it as 1 and 2 and 3 here, and we come back for wave 4 here, and we can look at that target area, and then up for wave 5 here. That would kind of make sense, really, because we'd be looking for a classic trading levels pattern, which would just, the picture is really the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and then a corrective pattern like this here. And then we normally go along here. So that's the pattern that we'd be looking for. And this is just the arrival. So we haven't seen the reaction in 3 waves yet. The other count is that we actually have, copy this, all this move up to here, and we come back to a deeper correction in this space here. So all of this is 5 waves moving up through here. So on the, let's cut straight through to the tick chart here. So from this particular low here, we probably need to go back over this little area here too as well. We've got some of it's a little bit tricky to count, but I'll leave it there as we've left it there before. So 1 and 2 here, and then looking at all of this as a 3rd wave up here and a 4th wave here. And last time we spoke, we were looking for a move above these highs here, and that's moved off quite nicely. The market's not going to go anywhere really at the 100, so we don't have to worry too much about anything. And here I can count this up as, from wave 4 here up to blue wave 5 here with 5 waves in there. So there's 2 things that we need to consider here. One of them, as I mentioned before, if we look at this, copy this here, if we look at this top here as a wave 3, as I mentioned, then we'll be coming down for a wave, a wave 4. And the wave 4 would come back to the 38.2% retracement level where it is here. Once it's here, then it can move up from that point there. So I don't need that. Don't know what that's doing there. So we can have, let's just copy this here. So it can just move back to this level here, okay, and then move up from that point. But it doesn't really matter because, as I mentioned, what we're actually looking for is this move up here, a move back, then a move up here, and then a move across here like this. It needs to sort itself out here, and this will be a long trade over here, or we may be able to get in a better position over here and so on. So that's what we're kind of looking for, and the wave 3 and 4 here would suit that, and then we'd go up for wave 5 up through this area here and then back down. So the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, then the ABC correction. So that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is the wave 2 here, and that would be looking at a retracement back to the 50-60% retracement level, which, as you can see, is quite low here, and we just need to be mindful of it. It's not that it's not that it's we have much evidence for that just yet. We would need to see how the market unfolds. In both cases, we'll be seeing a corrective move. This market is still bullish, and we need to get a setup. In Trading Lounge, we normally trade to a level, and then we exit. So then we just wait for the correction, and the correction basically that's where the next trend is engineered from. But with the correction, sometimes it's a little bit tricky to work out, like initially. So as it unfolds and matures, we get to, mull it over and think about it more and more, and it becomes a bit more obvious at the time, and then we can find the right setup to move in there. So there's a lot to we need to allow this market time before we're going to see the next trend, because markets are just trends and corrections of different degrees, and they tend to correct at large numbers. So 100 and number 1 to me is the strongest number in the market, be it 1 cent, $1, $10, 100, 1,000, whatever. That's the strongest number. So we're seeing that play out here for that. So I'll leave that where it is for the moment, and we'll have a look at the next stock, which can be General Electric. This is General Electric on the weekly chart here. And we have a nice 5-wave move down through here into this low here, and we do have 5 waves in this little move through here. There could possibly be a new low. We can look at that scenario, but there's a couple of ways we can look at this. Is that the low is already in place and we're going to be moving straight up from that point. The other way that we could look at this is take this length here and then call that wave 1 down to this low and look for an ABC back to the 61.8%, which is roughly where the $10 is, and then we would see a move come down from that point. So we're aware of an A and a B and a C here, back for for the wave 2 here, and then down from that point. Now this is great having the $10 here, the trading level 1, because if we get support on that this time around, we know that we're going to be heading higher from that point. I can't confirm that yet until we get support there, and we'll trade what we see at the time. We're just trading patterns. So let's move into the weekly daily chart here. And the daily chart here can have, as I've mentioned, can have wave 5 playing out here. We also know wave 4 can get a bit complicated. It's probably possible to have wave 4 sitting over here as well. So wave 3 here, an A wave here, B wave here, and a C wave here. But I can kind of squeeze 5 waves out of there. So for the time being, I'm happy with the current situation. And last time we spoke, I think that we were, 5 days ago, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were in here. So we're expecting wave A, then wave B, and wave C up to the $10 area through here. It does bring in some other levels here. So the orange lines are major trading levels, and you can think of those with the Fibonacci numbers of just counting to 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. And then 8, you normally go to 13, but we use the power of 10. So we would go back to 1 again, which would make $10. And then we would go $20 and $30 and $50 and $80, and then we get to 100, that would come back to 1 again, the power of 10. And the medium levels are just halfway between 2 major levels. So we would have one here at $6.50 that we're working with now, because halfway between 5 and 8, $6.50. And as you can see, it works out really quite nicely here. And I normally find, this number's more important than the number 6 or number 7 here. Those numbers are important, but they're not as important as the $6.50 in terms of the trading levels. So we need to look at this now. So in a bit of a nutshell, looks like we've moved up quite strongly here, and we would look for a retracement level here of 50-60% now. So from that high there, we'll draw that in here now it comes back in at the level there, so that makes it nice and tidy. So we're expecting it to come back into that space there, and it's possible, as I mentioned, we could have this as an A and a B and a C wave here, and then move all the way down through here to have this wave 5 sitting over here for that. That's possible, but let's just see how it sits with this particular level here first, see if it finds support here. If it finds support here, then we can look to trade to the long side up here on this one here. So we'll put wave B there for the time being. And of course this could be wave 1 moving to the upside as well. So in this case we are going to go straight to the tick chart. Might bring a bit more data in, I think. Okay, so this is what I was thinking. So let's just get this low in place here. So I was considering this point to be the low here, and in terms of counting this to the upside here, I was looking at this as 1 and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1, ABC for 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, and 5 here to make wave 5. So, like I said, this can make this impulse wave could be wave C of wave 4, and we make new lows. So I'm aware of that, okay? The other point here is that because we've got an impulse wave here, we can look for it to pull back to the 50-60% area in this box here, so 620 area through here, and then move up from that point. So what we're looking for here at the moment, we could look at this as the A wave here, the B wave here. I know that's the high there, but I just don't like spikes. You know what I mean? It's just one spike. I'd rather go with where most of the trade volume is played out here, and also 2 here. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So and then the A, the B, and the C wave coming up here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bit dodgy, but I'll work with that. So I'm not really considering that there, because that would change the wave count again at that particular point. So you know, I'm not going to. I just don't want to run with that at this stage. So yeah, there's a couple of ways to look at all of this, and just looking at it in different ways. Okay, so these grey ones should actually be in green here. So what we're looking for is this market to come down further through here. Now, if this market moves above this level here, the $7.20, then it will be bullish from that point. So we can go long at that point. Okay, but otherwise, I just want to see how this plays out here first. Let's allow it to pull down, finish off, and then we can work with it. So just to recap on this particular stock here. We're thinking that wave 5 low here is in place on this in this situation here. But it's possible that it can move down here further. We just need to see how it treats this box area here, if it can develop support there. If not, well, then it will move down. If this low is in place here, then we can also look at this as wave 1 up here and pulling back for wave 2 here, and then we're going to be going long above 720 area. But we may be able to get a much better position in that. I'll just need to see the pattern down here. I'll need to gather some more evidence at this point. Last time when we spoke, we were looking at the low here, or in this space here somewhere, and thinking that the low is in place and we need to gather some evidence. Well, the evidence is that we can see 5 waves up here. Now, it could be the wave C from an A and a B and wave C here and make a new low here. I'm aware of that. But at the same time, we need to prepare for the upside. So we need to prepare for the downside and the upside. On the upside, we need to allow this move back to complete itself here. It's only got 1 bar so far, so we'd expect at least 3 or so. And then we can go long above the 720, and we may get a better entry in that space. Okay, let's move on and look at the next stock. Okay, so this next stock, we're looking here on the daily chart. It's called, code is Team Atlassian, which is an Australian company. So we're going to be looking at this on this daily chart and also on the 1 hour chart. So in this instance here, the market's still in a bullish mode to the upside here. So we can expect this market to end up at 200. And last week we were looking for a correction here, but it did correct a bit deeper than I expected it to. But this company's can be a bit news driven as such. So let's go into the daily chart, the 1 hour chart, and pick this up. I don't have it on the tick chart. There's just not enough data there, but I'll just work with what I've got here. So in this instance here, we've got we've got wave 2 here, but we've had wave 1 up here, so up for 1 and back for 2, and then we've got 1 here and 2 here, and then little 5 waves here, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So, and then the 4th and the 5th, so that's all there, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. Yeah, so I was expecting this to pull back, but just to pull back a bit too far. I mean, I was expecting it to pull back, but that's what wave 4s do. Wave 4s break the trend channel. So always, always be aware of that. I mean, a trend line is, can be handy, but at the same time, you just need to be aware that expect wave 4 to break. So I was just expecting it to pull back to this area through here. But it's pulled, back, still giving us that ABC correction, A and B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, but it's just pulled back quite deeply, so that was a bit unexpected, but still, this is only our second week into these stocks, and we're learning a little bit more about them each time. So what we should see here is this market continue to work higher. There will be a retracement here, so it does appear that we can look at 1 and 2 and 3. So there's an impulse wave in here. So we'll see it move up, and we'll see it move back here like this here, and then move up here again for this. So we'll be looking for 5 waves in this next leg here to make wave 5 of 3 here, and then wave 4 over this side over here. So yeah, looking positive, and yeah, if you're long, well then just keep building into the long side for this particular stock here. Alrighty, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. Cheers.